For almost 4 decades, I've been asked one particular question more than any others in the training business. People ask me, Don Hutson, why is it that there's some people who are consistently high performers? Day in, day out, in, year out. They do the best jobs and you can book it. It's going to happen. And why is it when you consider carefully what they're doing that it's difficult to understand exactly what the behaviors are? Is their IQ higher? Not necessarily. Is their work ethic greater? Perhaps, but not to a great degree. Maybe people are working the same number of hours, but they just don't get it done. So how do high performers make it happen? That's our question. Now, I've been studying it for decades, as mentioned, and I'm delighted to report that today, I think, for years, I've been saying, I'm not sure, but I think I've got it figured out. There's something that goes on among high performers that enables them to compress more achievement into a given measurable time frame than other people. So we're going to talk about what those things might be. And the first thing I would pose to you as a question is, would you agree that high performers, the men and the women who consistently do the best job, sell more, sell with greater skill, get out there, make it happen, could we agree that they are generally up? Their attitude is intact. They're positive, they have high expectations, they've got their act together, and they are positive in their behavior. Their work ethic is such that they're making some great things happen. We define the concept of being up, or attitude, if you will, at U.S. Learning, as the spirit and demeanor one chooses to adopt and display from a given stimulus. Now, if the high performers are up, let's talk about what that really entails. It means their attitude's right. They have mentally programmed themselves and they are ready to create some momentum in their career. But let me pose another question to you. Could we also agree that the high performers, the men and the women who are consistently doing the best job in the selling profession, are not only up, but aren't they also really good at what they do? They've got their skill sets down. They're programmed for success. They have the ideas in place that will enable them to go to the next level. So I got one more question for you to consider now. We've agreed they're up. We've agreed the high performers are good. But here's what I want you to consider. Do you think high performers are up because they're good, or do you think they're good because they're up? I think the answer is yes. Let's go into this with a little bit more detail, because whether one is up or not is going to determine some key things in terms of outcomes. If they're up, that means that they've got in place a propulsion process. Now, for a given individual, they've got to decide what that is. For you, maybe it's online learning. Maybe it's reading books. Maybe it's a combination of things. Maybe it's going to seminars and hearing speakers. But when somebody is up, they have optimism, they have belief, they have determination, they have high energy, and they are determined to display an exceptional work ethic. That's what that source of propulsion does for them. Now, in the absence of a good, strong source of propulsion, what happens is, through simple gravity, negativity sets in. There seems to be a lack of commitment. There's lower energy. And as a result of that, when people are not up, gravity pulls them down. The absence of a propulsion process puts gravity in place. Let's make sure we don't fall into that trap. Being up, having the right attitude is a decision, and it's yours on a day-to-day basis. Now let's talk about the good side. What does it take to really be good at what you do? Well, first, an understanding that we can't use yesterday's skills in today's marketplace. We've got to be buying into training. We've got to be buying into the concept of education, of personal development. We want to have cutting-edge skill sets. We want to be doing the things that make a difference in today's marketplace. We want to be offering innovative solutions to our prospective buyers, effective strategies that'll make a real difference. You see, if we've got the right things in process and in place mentally, where we have the skill sets and we've practiced, we've drilled, we've rehearsed, where we have the ability to utilize those skill sets in a very effective manner, that's one of the things that makes a great difference. So what happens if we don't have the training and education skill sets in place, or the mindset for betterment? In the absence of training and education, what tends to occur is through simple habits, much like gravity on the other side. The habits of the past come into play. Now, if you've got some really good habits, wonderful. Assess those habits, keep on using them. But any habit that's not up to par, that's pulling you down and keeping you from being your best, replace that habit with a good habit, with a new habit. Because without the right habits, negative habits and old habits will put us into a mode of complacency. We'll be using old skills. We'll be presenting tired solutions. And what that results in basically is marginal results. The high performers, ladies and gentlemen, are the men and the women who are up and they're good. And they know that consistently, on a daily basis, they've got to work at both. It's something we've got to do for ourselves. It's about learning. It's about programming in a positive manner with the right attitude. Now, one more thing. Across our illustration, if we've got a line of demarcation right in the middle, our challenge is to stay above the midpoint. You see, mid-range means mediocrity at best. Let's stay above the midpoint. We'll be in the up range, we'll be in the good range. And as a result of that, there's going to be a wonderful payoff. Now, if we'll do that and do that well, I promise you, you will be an exceptional performer. The difference will be in how you've programmed yourselves and what you've learned and what you are determined to put to work for you.